Larry Keeley, president and co-founder of Doblin, Inc., is a strategist who specializes in innovation. He was named a top innovation guru by Business Week magazine, and he teaches innovation strategy classes at the Institute of Design in Chicago. At the MFG meeting, Keeley spoke on an innovation system, or how companies can use this important tool to their advantage. Let's hear what he has to say.
Hi, I'm Pat McGibbon, and we're at the MFG meeting in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm with Larry Keeley to talk a little bit about innovation. Larry, I listened to your presentation this morning, and you had a little bit of a rush job because you got a fantastic topic that would probably cover an entire day's worth of seminars. But one of the things I saw missing from your presentation is your piece on the return on investment with respect to innovation. Can you give us a little bit of feedback on that?
Well, one of the great things about innovation these days, Pat, is that it's beginning to give up its secrets. And one of the things that really matters is having the right kinds of metrics. The way to think about sort of return on investment, I think, is best broken down into a series of topics. One starting place that most people do not use is diagnostics. How are they doing? How are they doing compared to everybody else in their sector? How are they doing compared to the very best people in their sector? How are they doing compared to the people that are upstream from them, their suppliers, downstream from them, their customers, right?
Right.
And so starting with diagnostics gives you a sense of the power level of innovation you have to hit in order to be actually innovating.
Yes.
So most folks begin in the dark. They think they're just supposed to enhance their creativity. They stick a bunch of people in the room and they tell them to go nuts and think of breakthrough ideas, Pat.
Yes.
And so the important place to start is to say, gee, how much innovation is good enough? When am I innovating at a pace that is, going to exceed the norms in my industry? So that's part one.
Okay.
Okay. The second thing you have to have is the right metrics. So you got to measure your progress along the way against your goals. You do the diagnostics to set the goals, and then you can use metrics. Now, it's a complicated topic that took me years to unpack. Most people, if they know any design metric or any innovation metric at all, they start to use the thing popularized by 3M. What's the percentage of things I'm selling now that are fewer than 5 years old? Okay. Here's the thing that's interesting to know about metrics. There's about 60 of them. Most people know 0, maybe 1. And the one that they tend to know is a disaster. That thing about what's the percentage of sales that I'm getting from things less than 5 years old is what I call a freshness index. And basically what it forces you to do is create lots and lots of product proliferation and variance, creating what's called in the accounting trade cost of complexity problems. Okay?
Okay, yes.
Yeah. So here's the thing that matters. There's 60 innovation metrics. Nobody ever needs more than 6, but they have to pick the right ones.
And how do they do that?
You do it by sort of first off being conscious of which ones exist.
Okay.
And there's a simple catalog that we can share with folks. And the second thing that you do is you say, all right, which of these are going to drive the right kind of results for my enterprise that sort of consistent with my goals and get me to innovate in a way that's relevant? And then the real question you asked is, am I getting any return on investment? That's where you back up from everything and you use a reward system to make sure that your colleagues and your firm as a whole is putting in place the right kind of incentives to get the results that you actually need. So diagnostics, metrics, and incentives are the 3 components of getting innovation to work the way you need it to.
Well, it sounds like you need a fourth one in there as well. When you get the metrics, you were saying in the ROI that you needed to benchmark against best practices and against the rest of people to see how well you're doing.
Yeah.
While they can get all these metrics internally, where would you get the external metrics from other companies?
Here again, that's what we call the diagnostic segment, okay? And it's, as you have already properly guessed, it's hard. You can't exactly call your competitors up and say, how many new things are you guys working on? So you have to look at indices that are always available. You can look at things like changes in cash flow in an industry, patterns of entrances and exits. You can look at patent filings. You can look at new product or service announcements. You can look at patterns of joint venturing and partnering. These are all the things that you can do in a modern diagnostic world, and none of them is illegal. None of them is even, the slightest bit unusual as a practice. I would never advocate anything that is about sort of intense competitive intelligence. There are even things like, you've seen these things. The day that a brand new iPad or iPhone is announced, there are people taking it apart on the internet and showing you all the value engineering analyses of every single part and speculating about which supplier everywhere in the world is likely to be the one providing that component, right?
And that happens even if they don't find it laying on a bar somewhere.
Exactly right, good point. So there's just, it's mostly a disciplined effort to roll up the many different things that you can find with diligent effort in the public domain.
Well, one of the things about metrics and diagnostics, from my experience in the quality world, is if you got those two elements, that means you must be able to make it into a process as well.
Sure. And that's one of the things that is a constant refrain for me about innovation. Innovation is giving up its secrets. You can teach it to anybody. The important corollary there, Pat, is that once you can teach it to anybody, you can expect it from everybody.
So it's going to be a very competitive edge issue, and it's not going to be the irregular guy who makes it. It's going to be a commonplace activity for companies of the future?
Yeah, it's going to be as important as any other part of modern management science. So if you're doing strategic planning or manpower planning or resource planning or good accounting systems, your innovation system is going to be the same way.
And I imagine two good metrics of that would be how many more people are taking the course with you and how many more courses are popping up at other colleges.
Well, there's many great places that you can learn about innovation. It doesn't have to be with me. But what I will say is that if you don't have a modern view of innovation, if you think it's about enhancing your creativity, and especially if you think it's fundamentally about creating new products, your ideas are dated and you need to challenge and change them any place you can.
And not just to give you a plug, but because people want to find out more, and I know that your website has a lot of information beyond just how to contact you. You wouldn't mind throwing the website out there for us?
www.doblin.com gets directly to my firm, but I teach this topic in a design school, the Institute of Design in Chicago, easily found as part of IIT. I also teach it at Kellogg Graduate School of Management, part of Northwestern University, and it's M program, which is about manufacturing. So there's lots of ways to get to me, just Larry Keeley. I'm told by my family members who are typically mortified by this that if you Google me, you get lots of stuff.
Yeah, so over 10,000 hits, yes.
Yeah, well, that's embarrassing, and I don't know how to stop it, but I'm not hard to find.
Why would you want to, right? I know you're on a tight time schedule, and one of the things that's unique about our industry is how small we are. We have, in our membership, over 70% of our members are under $10 million.
Sure.
And we take a look at the people who exhibit IMTS. It's about the same percentage as well. What would you suggest to a person that's in a company that's got, I don't know, 70, 80 employees and is in the $7 million range? What should be the first step they take?
Well, I don't have to say anything. I just have to remind them what Margaret Mead said 75 years ago, right?
Yeah.
She's the fabulous woman that invented the field of cultural anthropology, and what she said is never underestimate the power of a small group of committed people to change the world. After she said never underestimate the power of a small group of committed people to change the world, what she said quietly was, because it's the only thing that ever has.
Good point.
That's the way the so-called small companies that are part of your association should understand themselves. What are they going to do to change things fundamentally? That's where innovation starts.
Because it's people like them that have made all the changes in the past.
Exactly right,
okay.
Pat.
Hey, well, thank you, Larry.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Larry, for your input on innovation. We appreciate that, and this is me, Pat McGibbon, from MFG at Phoenix, Arizona.
How does American manufacturing move forward in the next decade? We believe that collaboration and innovation are the keys. How do we achieve this vision? By developing a clear path that we call the manufacturing mandate. Hi, I'm Doug Woods, president of AMT, the Association for Manufacturing Technology, and we're calling for a federal policy of collaboration between government, industry, and academia. This federal policy would incentivize innovation in R&D in new products and manufacturing technologies. It would assure the availability of capital, increase our global competitiveness while minimizing structural cost burdens, enhancing collaboration, and training a better educated smart force. The United States currently lags behind our trading partners in the fields we should be dominating in. That's because we operate in a business and regulatory environment that thwarts our progress. If we don't redirect our government policy and resources to focus on innovation and R&D, there will be more missed opportunities for American technological leadership, and our citizens will ultimately suffer. It is possible for government, industry, and our academic communities to work together, utilizing an infrastructure that's already in place. to revitalize our manufacturing sector and promote real economic growth. And we're poised to work with them to develop and implement a national manufacturing strategy, what we call the Manufacturing Mandate, that will reestablish the United States as a worldwide leader in next-generation manufacturing technologies. AMT is urging Congress and the administration to implement policies consistent with the Manufacturing Mandate and to develop a coherent national manufacturing strategy to help rebuild and strengthen this country's manufacturing sector. Thank you.